Hello. If you're watching this, that means you've got Newberry High School as your clinical site for next year. My name is Dylan Rango, and I was the GA at Newberry last year. Newberry is a small 2A high school in rural Newberry, South Carolina. The main purpose for this video is to inform you of the things that I found helpful that I wish someone would have told me as I prepared to enter into the position. I'm not going to focus a lot on the clinical side specifically, just because you have another athletic trainer there, Caitlin. She's your supervisor. She's a former post-professional grad student from USC, graduated like 4 or 5 years ago, and she works as the head athletic trainer and teaches a few classes at the high school. So needless to say, she knows everybody. She does a lot for the school and the advancement of education and athletic training, not only at Newberry, but the entire school district. Whether this is your first placement or a new placement, Caitlin is a wonderful resource. She is big on autonomy. The biggest compliment she can give you is allowing you to work by yourself. Something that I still learn, and I'm still learning that you might find helpful, is even though she might let you work autonomously, you still need to communicate everything to her. She does a great job of taking 10-15 minutes every few days or so to update you on everything that's going on that might have happened while you weren't there or didn't get to see a patient or something. So yeah, if a patient got hurt or practice, they would for sure come up to me, but most of the kids I worked with would always go to her the day after the injury. You know how kids do. That can definitely be frustrating, but that's just how high schoolers are, unfortunately. You are a sports medicine team, meaning you work with one another, not just two individuals working. If she asks you questions about something, don't take it personally or get defensive. She just wants to understand your thought process, make sure you understand it as well. Similarly, if she ever sees something concerning about your behavior or decision making, she knows how to give good feedback without stepping on toes or calling you out. She always takes you to the side after an incident or whatever, just to kind of talk, debrief a little bit. I always really appreciated when she did that. Likewise, I would also encourage you to challenge her as well. Again, the intent is not to attack her for whatever reason, but so you yourself can also learn from what she is doing. So if you're learning something in the class, bring it up, discuss it with her. Ultimately, your goal as a team is to provide the best clinical care, and sometimes that is implementing new things or doing away with some old mindsets. The EMR system here that they use is ATS. Hopefully you can remember what that is since they talked about it in the first summer orientation. Initially, ATS can look a little intimidating, but it's actually quite easy to use. It's not crazy different from the other EMRs, so it might take a bit to figure out. But once you do, it becomes very easy to use. Caitlin is a big fan of using ATS, especially because it helps make data that she can propose to the stakeholders, to different people within the district. She understands ATS very well, and so any and all the questions you might have, she's really good at answering. A quick note that was new for me was having high school aides. I had never worked at a high school where we had the athletic training student aides, the high school aides. And since Caitlin teaches an AT class, she gets her students to volunteer with different things. At the beginning, because they were a bit of a luxury for me, I did not know how to utilize them properly. I came from a D1 football mindset in which I was the AT student responsible for setting up the field and getting water ready. And I brought that mindset with me to Newberry. So I would often focus on doing that because part of me did not trust these high school aides to be able to do it, or thought that it should be done in a timely manner. And again, they're high school students, are kind of going to take their own time doing these different things. The aides want to be there even if they don't seem that way all the time when they are there, so use them. They ended up becoming the students I enjoyed being around the most. Additionally, they helped me really grow in patience and the ability to educate others. Growing up, my dad worked in a small city about 45 minutes away from home. He would drive out there every day for about 10 years when we lived up in Indiana. Since being at Newberry, I now realize how much more of a saint and trooper my dad is, because that can be a rough drive. And Newberry, unfortunately, is about 45 minutes away. I really struggled my first semester with the drive out to Newberry for a number of reasons. The high school lets out around 3:20, and so I would always get to the school around then, and so I would have to leave Columbia by 2:30 just to avoid the traffic and the random instances of trains in Columbia. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I get super tired around 2, so driving tired is not only dangerous but extremely difficult and almost painful to do. With all the other things going on as a GA, make sure you have a good sleep schedule. If that doesn't work, make some time for a quick power nap before hitting the road, and then coffee never hurt anybody. One of the biggest mental hurdles itself was the drive to and from Newberry. I struggled with the idea of feeling like I was wasting about an hour and a half of my day each day driving to and from work. And then I found out that music got pretty old pretty quickly. So make sure you either have a wide variety of music you're listening to or try something new. I became a country fan after subjecting myself to listen to it on my car rides. To help combat that feeling, I try to use that time for self-reflection or just general good things. I began to listen to a lot of podcasts on a bunch of different things. One of my favorite ones is called The Place We Find Ourselves, which focuses on psychology and counseling. I also used this time a lot to call friends. This was my first placement as a GA, and being at USC was a big challenge emotionally and socially for me, and having the ability to talk with friends from undergrad, childhood, and family turned out to be such a lifeline for me as the semester went on. Like most jobs, there are random perks and such that you will find pretty quick, but nevertheless, I think it's worth mentioning. Since you end up driving nearly 400 miles a week, gas becomes a big deal. There are 3 gas stations of note: Pilot on exit 82, Love's on exit 76, and Murphy USA just past the high school. Each of these are always the cheapest in the area, but especially compared to Columbia by at least 10 cents. The athletic directors and coaches are very friendly towards the athletic trainers. There are 2 main ADs, CC, Coach Cromer, and Coach Carey. They let me know for the games I could always grab something from the concession stands. On days in which you were at Newberry pretty late, it was actually a pretty nice perk. I never try to abuse the system, however, just grabbing one thing here and there. I usually always end up grabbing a drink in a sack too. I'm still waiting the time to make this video to hear about, I'm still waiting to hear back if I ever got apparel, but I don't think I ever did. So if you ever are interested in apparel, I've got a couple of things that I'm going to end up donating to the program, just a couple of Newberry things. But usually if you say something to Caitlin, she'll also be able to get you some things as well. And then going back to food, I always tried to eat food at home, but being out of the house for so long, there was just definitely some days where you just end up making some room for it in your budget. You've worked some hard hours, so you got to treat yourself some good comfort food. Overall, those were kind of just the different things that came to mind in terms of things that I wish I would have known that would have probably helped me making this transition. Again, like I said, I was a first year coming into this position, and it was a big change for me. So yeah, that's kind of my introduction, my welcome to you into Newberry. I hope that you can enjoy it. It's going to be a wonderful year. There's going to be a lot of good kids, a lot of fun games to watch, and I hope you enjoy your time at Newberry.